So before we left for China, we read about their education system and how it differed from ours, and basically everything we studied about China, everything we read and discussed, was based upon the differences between them and us. And even when we finally walked around in China, I constantly found myself removed from the surroundings, around me. And believe me, we walked through some cities that looked just like Philly. I mean, we walked through American malls that sold American fashion, and we even ate our first big meal at KFC. So it was weird, but when you smelled the air, it still smelled like China. And when you looked around at the people, they all looked like China. And when you listened to them speak, they all sounded like China. And it just became really easy to remove myself from everything around me, because to me the differences were so tangible. And I hate to admit it, but I kind of found it so hard to relate to the people we met. And we met with a lot of highly intelligent university students who spoke very good English, but I still wasn't impressed. I mean, they were very intelligent, don't get me wrong, but most of them fit the mold of what we had read before. They had a lot of smarts, but very little personality. And I found myself even further removed from them because sometimes it was like I was talking to a computer, sometimes. It wasn't until our last full day in China, when we went to this Tianjin experimental high school, that my perception of their students was totally flipped on its head. I'll never forget how we met these students. We had just finished playing basketball, and we walked into this classroom, and no one had told us that inside this classroom waited a group of the most elite students at this high school. So here I am, I walk in, I'm all sweaty with my shirt around my neck and my undershirt on, and I watch this mass of students dressed in suits applauding us. And I'll never forget there were these three kids sitting in the front row, which ended up being the kids I was speaking with the rest of the day. And instead of applauding, they were doing this like hoo 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 chant, and it was funny to me. And it sounds stupid, like a stupid thing to notice, but it was really the first time that I saw young students just breaking from the mold of what the rest of the class was doing. They were doing something, just anything different from everyone else. And it was really a testament to these guys' character. I mean, they had personality, they had humor. The one kid had his tie loosened down to like his second button on his shirt, and when they shook my hands, they gave me this sideways handshake with like the one-armed hug thing that they probably saw on TV or something, like American TV or something, I don't know. But so anyway, so after the meet and greet, we all split up and went into different rooms to discuss, what I thought was going to be more about their education system. So I broke off with the three kids that were doing the chant, and to be honest with you, we talked about education for about 10 seconds. For instance, as soon as we walked in the classroom, they took me to where they sit, and there was a magazine there with a subheading that said, top 10 ways to seal a deal with your lover, or something like that. I was just so blown away that they actually would have something like that, that they could read. So I jokingly said to the one kid who claimed to have had a crush on this girl, Mia, I asked him if he tried using any of those techniques on her. But before he could even answer, his two other buddies said, no, he tried all 10 and he still failed. And we all just started cracking up laughing because, I mean, they were just ripping on him, for being able to get the girl, just like my friends always ripped on me in the U.S., But anyway, we talked for a little while, and basically about nothing in particular. We played basketball for the rest of the day and for the rest of the afternoon, and it was the greatest day of my trip because it allowed me to break the stigma I had in my mind about students in China. I believe that if given the opportunity and the freedom to do so, these students would be undistinguishable from students in the U.S. And I'm willing to bet that these guys I met at the high school probably have better personalities than a lot of students I've had in my classes here in the U.S., It was funny, too. While we were all playing basketball, the one guy, Chine, he kept trying to put his arm around the girl Mia, and it was like whispering in her ear and stuff and trying to be slick, and it just cracked me up because it reminded me of me and my friends trying to be slick in high school and trying to get girls and always get shot down. And it was just funny to me that how similar we were at that point. I think I'll forever look back on our day in China at that experimental school. Experimental meaning adopting a Western style of education. And I think of the students I met and how for the first time I could look around and smell the air and listen to the words, and it all reminded me of home, and it all reminded me of the potential that lies in the students of China.